There comes a time in every person's life when the noise of the world begins to fade, and what remains is the quiet confrontation with one's own thoughts. You start to realize that no matter how much you achieve or how far you go, the quality of your life is determined not by what happens around you, but by what happens inside you. Your mind can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. It can lift you into peace, or it can drag you into chaos. Most people live trapped inside their own untrained minds, reacting to every emotion, believing every thought, and assuming that whatever they feel in the moment must be the truth. But mastering your mind and emotions doesn't mean becoming emotionless. It means learning how to stay centered when everything inside you wants to fall apart. It's the art of being the calm in the storm, not because life is perfect, but because you've learned to direct the storm within. The first step toward mastering your emotions is realizing that you are not your thoughts. Thoughts are clouds passing through the sky of your awareness. They come and go, constantly changing shape, sometimes dark and heavy, sometimes light and fleeting. The problem begins when you start believing that every thought represents reality. The mind is like a storyteller that never stops narrating. It tells you who you are, what others think, what could go wrong, and what's missing. When you start observing that voice instead of obeying it, you awaken a new level of consciousness. You begin to see the difference between awareness and the chatter inside it. The moment you learn to step back and witness your mind, you take the first step toward liberation. Emotional mastery is not about suppression, it's about regulation. Many people think control means pushing feelings away, hiding pain, or pretending not to care. But what you resist persists. The energy of suppressed emotions doesn't disappear. It hides in the body, in the muscles, in the breath, in the tone of your voice. Mastery begins when you can sit with discomfort and allow emotions to exist without letting them dictate your actions. Imagine your emotions as waves. Some are gentle ripples, others are tidal. If you try to fight the wave, you drown. But if you learn to surf, you ride the rhythm of life itself. Emotions are not the enemy. They are data, not directives. They're messages from your subconscious trying to tell you something you haven't yet faced. When you listen without judgment, emotions become your greatest teachers. Every time you feel triggered, you are being invited to meet a part of yourself that still needs understanding. That moment of anger, jealousy, or anxiety isn't random. It's a signal. It's your inner world asking for your attention. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "What is this showing me?" That small shift in awareness turns pain into insight. When you stop identifying with your emotions and start observing them, you begin to take back your power. You start realizing that no one can truly control your peace unless you hand it over. Most of the chaos we feel inside is created by our attachment to thoughts that were never meant to define us. You tell yourself stories about what people think of you, about how the future will unfold, about what you deserve, and you start believing those stories as truth. But the human mind often confuses imagination with evidence. If you think long enough about something negative, your body will respond as if it's real. That's why anxiety feels physical. Your nervous system can't distinguish between an imagined threat and a real one. The practice of mastering your mind means learning to break this pattern, to question the thoughts that arise before accepting them as truth. You become the gatekeeper of your mental world, choosing which narratives deserve your energy and which ones must be released. Awareness is the key that unlocks freedom. Every emotion, no matter how painful, loses its power when you bring awareness to it. Imagine feeling anxiety rise in your chest. Instead of running, pause. Breathe deeply. Notice the sensations in your body, the tightness, the heartbeat, the warmth. Simply noticing begins to calm the nervous system. Awareness activates the part of your brain responsible for regulation and self-control. The moment you bring light to what you feel, darkness dissolves. That's the paradox of emotional mastery. The more you allow yourself to feel, the less control emotions have over you. Our emotional patterns often originate from childhood. Long before you could put feelings into words, your body was learning emotional language from your environment. If you grew up around chaos, your nervous system learned to expect chaos. If you were surrounded by criticism, your mind learned self-doubt. These patterns follow us into adulthood, repeating through our relationships, work, and self-talk. But awareness gives you the power to rewrite the script. You can reparent yourself to give your mind the safety and compassion it never received. Each time you calm yourself instead of criticizing yourself, you're rewiring your emotional brain. You're teaching your inner child that it's safe to feel again. To master your mind, you must also master your attention. Where attention goes, energy flows. The mind loves to wander, to replay old memories, to predict future disasters, to invent imaginary problems. But attention is your most valuable currency. Every thought you entertain strengthens a neural connection. The more you focus on fear, the more fear circuits fire. The more you focus on gratitude, the more peace becomes your default. Train your attention like a muscle. Every time you bring your focus back to the present, you build mental strength. This is not about denial, it's about direction. You can't stop thoughts from arising, but you can choose which ones to water. Breathing is the most underrated tool for mastering emotions. Your breath is a bridge between body and mind, between conscious and subconscious. When you control your breath, you influence your nervous system. Slow, deep breathing activates the parasympathetic system, the body's natural state of calm. Each deep inhale is a reminder that you're safe. Each exhale, a release of tension and fear. In moments of overwhelm, return to your breath. It's always with you, always guiding you back to presence. Breath is not just oxygen, it's awareness moving through you. The stories you tell yourself about life determine how you experience it. When something painful happens, your mind rushes to label it. This is unfair. This is terrible. This means I've failed. But what if instead you looked at every challenge as an opportunity to expand your strength and awareness? Every obstacle is a test of mastery. Life will keep repeating lessons until you learn them. When you choose growth over blame, you transform suffering into evolution. Pain becomes the teacher that shapes your wisdom. Emotional resilience doesn't mean you never fall. It means you rise faster each time. The strongest minds are not those that never break, but those that rebuild themselves with grace. You become resilient when you stop fearing failure and start embracing experience. Every heartbreak, every setback, every loss becomes a tool for transformation. The person who learns to sit calmly in chaos cannot be defeated by circumstance. Because mastery isn't built in comfort, it's forged in discomfort, in the moments that test your patience, your faith, and your love for yourself. Mind mastery also requires compassion for yourself and for others. When you judge yourself harshly, you reinforce the very emotional patterns you want to heal. The mind that criticizes itself cannot find peace. Instead, speak to yourself as you would to someone you love. Replace the voice of judgment with the voice of understanding. When you treat yourself with kindness, your emotions naturally soften. Compassion doesn't make you weak. It gives you strength rooted in acceptance. Your emotions are energy in motion. When you suppress them, they stagnate. When you allow them to flow through expression, through journaling, movement, art, or honest communication, they release. Emotional mastery is not just a mental practice, it's a physical one. Your body holds memories that your mind has forgotten. So when you stretch, breathe, or move, you're not just exercising muscles, you're freeing stories. Healing happens when the body, mind, and heart begin to communicate again. The journey of mastering your mind and emotions is not about becoming untouchable. It's about becoming fully human, aware, conscious, and compassionate. You'll still feel sadness, anger, fear, and pain, but they will no longer define you. Instead, they will flow through you, leaving wisdom in their wake. The more you practice awareness, the more peace becomes your natural state. Not because life stops being chaotic, but because your inner world has learned how to stay steady within it. The deeper you go into your inner world, the more you begin to see how much of your emotional life has been shaped by unexamined stories. Stories about who you should be, what love should look like, what success means, and what emotions are acceptable to feel. These beliefs are inherited from family, culture, and experience, and most of the time, they operate beneath conscious awareness. To master your mind, you must begin to question these silent rules. Ask yourself whose voice you are obeying when you feel guilt, shame, or fear. Sometimes the thoughts that torment you aren't even your own. They belong to the past, to people who taught you their pain. Emotional freedom begins when you stop inheriting unexamined beliefs and start creating your own truth. One of the most powerful realizations you'll ever have is that you are not required to believe every thought you think. Thoughts are not commands, they're possibilities. They are passing options presented by the mind. Some are wise, others are illusions. When you learn to pause before reacting, you create space for discernment. You begin to notice that between every emotion and every reaction lies a moment of choice. That moment is where power lives. The ability to pause and choose differently is what separates reactivity from mastery. This single skill, awareness in the space between, can change the course of your relationships, your career, and your peace of mind. Relationships are one of the most profound mirrors of emotional mastery. They expose every hidden wound and every unhealed pattern. The people closest to you will trigger you not because they are wrong, but because they awaken the parts of you that still seek healing. When someone criticizes you, pay attention to the emotion that rises. Is it anger, shame, defensiveness? That reaction reveals something deeper, a belief that needs attention. Instead of trying to control how others behave, focus on understanding what your emotions are trying to teach you. The more awareness you bring into your interactions, the more peaceful your connections become. You realize that emotional maturity isn't about changing people. It's about mastering how you show up, regardless of how others behave. The truth is, emotional pain often comes from resistance, from wanting reality to be something other than what it is. When you argue with life, you suffer. But when you accept life as it is, not as resignation, but as understanding, you create inner freedom. Acceptance doesn't mean liking everything that happens. It means choosing not to let what happens control your inner peace. You can't control every circumstance, but you can always control your response. And when you control your response, you reclaim your power. Sometimes mastering your emotions means giving yourself permission to feel what you've avoided for years. The sadness you never expressed, the anger you were taught to repress, the grief that's been hiding beneath your smile. Suppression is not strength, it's delay. True emotional strength comes from courage. The courage to face what hurts, to sit with it, to breathe through it, and to let it move through you. Healing doesn't happen in avoidance, it happens in presence. Every emotion that has been buried alive eventually demands to be seen. When you finally allow yourself to feel, you set yourself free. Your mind and body are one system. Every thought you think sends a signal through your body. Every emotion has a physical echo. Tension in the chest, tightness in the stomach, heaviness in the shoulders. When you master your emotions, you also begin to listen to your body as an ally, not an obstacle. The body keeps the score, as Dr. Bessel Kolk famously said. It remembers what the mind tries to forget. Pay attention to where emotions live in your body. Breathe into those spaces. Let movement, stillness, and awareness melt the walls you've built. The body doesn't lie. It always points to what's real. The way you speak to yourself in silence shapes your emotional life. Most people would never speak to others the way they speak to themselves. Harsh self-talk, constant criticism, and endless comparison slowly drain your emotional energy. If you want peace, you must first speak peace. The next time you notice your mind spiraling into self-judgment, pause and ask, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, change the script. Speak gently. Encourage yourself as you would a friend who's trying their best, because that's exactly who you are. A human being trying to navigate complexity with limited tools. Compassion toward yourself is not indulgence, it's maintenance for your emotional health. The environment you live in shapes your emotional stability more than you think. Your surroundings, the people, the energy, the sounds, all contribute to the state of your mind. Spend too much time around chaos, and chaos becomes your default. Spend time in calm, and peace begins to imprint itself within you. Mastery requires boundaries. Learn to say no when your peace is at risk. Learn to step back from noise when your energy feels drained. Protect your mental space as if it were sacred, because it is. The quality of your emotions depends on the quality of what you allow into your life. Another crucial aspect of mastering your mind is developing emotional vocabulary, the ability to accurately name what you feel. When you can't name your emotions, they control you. But when you can say, I feel anxious, or I feel lonely, or I feel disappointed, you begin to separate yourself from the feeling. You stop being the emotion and start being the observer. Naming emotions gives your logical brain a chance to regulate your emotional brain. It's a bridge between chaos and clarity. Emotional literacy is emotional freedom. Gratitude is another key that transforms emotional energy. It doesn't erase pain, but it shifts perspective. When your mind fixates on what's missing, gratitude reminds it of what's present. You can't feel resentment and gratitude at the same time. One dissolves the other. So, when life feels heavy, pause and name 3 things that are still good. They don't have to be extraordinary. A deep breath, a sunrise, a warm cup of tea, the fact that you are still here. Gratitude doesn't deny struggle, it balances it. It's the mind's way of saying, even in this, there is something to appreciate. Over time, gratitude becomes a habit that grounds you in peace. There will be times when your emotions overwhelm you, when no amount of breathing or mindfulness seems to work. In those moments, remember, this too shall pass. Emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent residents. No feeling is final. What feels unbearable today may feel distant tomorrow. When the waves crash hardest, remind yourself that you've survived every single one before. You are not weak for feeling deeply, you are alive. Strength is not the absence of emotion, but the ability to stand still in its presence. Spiritual wisdom, across traditions, says the same thing in different ways. Peace doesn't come from control, it comes from surrender. You stop trying to micromanage life and start flowing with it. You trust the process even when you don't understand it. That doesn't mean giving up. It means aligning yourself with something larger than fear. Surrender is the mind's way of saying, I'm done fighting reality. And when you surrender, a different kind of strength emerges. Quiet, steady, grounded. You begin to feel guided rather than lost. When you start living with this awareness, your relationship with emotions changes entirely. Anger becomes clarity, sadness becomes depth, fear becomes fuel, joy becomes gratitude. Every emotion becomes a messenger instead of a master. You stop labeling feelings as good or bad, and you begin to see them as waves on the same ocean. You become the ocean, vast, deep, and unshaken by surface ripples. This is what true mastery feels like. Not detachment from life, but total presence within it. As your mind becomes quieter, you start noticing the small details that were always there, but hidden behind noise. The way sunlight moves across the wall, the sound of your breath, the texture of peace itself. You realize that happiness isn't something to chase. It's something to notice. It's already here, in the ordinary moments you used to overlook. When your mind is clear, even the simplest things become extraordinary. The more you master your mind, the more you recognize how interconnected everything is. Every thought you think affects how you feel. Every emotion you express affects the energy around you. When you heal yourself, you contribute to the healing of the world. The peace you cultivate inside ripples outward, touching everyone you meet. Emotional mastery is not a selfish pursuit, it's an act of service to humanity. Because the calmer, kinder, and wiser you become, the more you help elevate the collective emotional climate of those around you. In the end, the journey of mastering your mind and emotions is not about perfection, it's about awareness. You will still get angry, anxious, or sad, but now you will understand why. You'll watch emotions rise and fall like waves, and you'll know how to return to stillness. Mastery doesn't make you superhuman, it makes you fully human, but conscious of your humanity. It's about remembering that within the noise of thoughts, there is a deeper intelligence, one that already knows peace. So, take a deep breath right now. Feel the air move through you. You are here, present, alive. Everything you've ever needed to master your mind already exists within you. Awareness, breath, compassion, choice. The mind is powerful, yes, but you are the consciousness that wields it. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who sees them, the one who decides which to believe and which to release. And if there's one truth to carry with you beyond this moment, it's this. Peace is not something you find. It's something you create again and again by choosing awareness over reaction, compassion over judgment, and presence over fear. That is how you master your mind and emotions, not in one grand revelation, but in thousands of small, conscious choices every single day. You see, the real journey of mastering your mind and emotions is not about becoming unshakable. It's about learning how to find your balance even as the ground beneath you shifts. Every time you choose awareness over impulse, you win a quiet victory. Every time you respond instead of react, you build inner strength. And every time you forgive yourself for slipping and start again, you evolve. Mastery isn't about never falling. It's about remembering that you can always rise. Your mind may still whisper doubt, fear, or insecurity. That's okay. You don't silence the mind by force. You calm it with understanding. You speak to it gently, as you would a frightened child. You tell it, it's okay to feel this, but we are still safe. That's what emotional mastery really is, creating safety inside yourself so the world can't take it away. One day, you'll look back and realize that the storms that once terrified you were actually the winds that shaped you. You'll see how every challenge strengthened your awareness, how every heartbreak deepened your compassion, and how every period of confusion taught you to trust your inner compass. You'll understand that peace was never something to find, it was something to remember. You have everything you need within you. You've had it all along, the power to pause, to breathe, to choose, to begin again. You are not your emotions. You are the vast awareness behind them. You are not your fears. You are the courage that faces them. And you are not broken. You are becoming. So from this moment forward, promise yourself one thing: to be the guardian of your own mind, to feed it wisdom, to speak to it with love, and to guide it with patience. Because the mind, when trained, becomes the greatest servant, and the heart, when open, becomes the greatest teacher. Together, they create harmony. And that harmony is what true freedom feels like. No matter where you are in life, no matter how heavy things feel right now, you are not stuck. You are growing in unseen ways. Every breath you take with awareness, every emotion you meet with compassion, every thought you question with courage, all of it is part of your becoming. This is not just healing, this is evolution. And as you walk away from this moment, remember, mastery isn't a destination, it's a daily choice. You master your mind one breath at a time, one thought at a time, one moment of awareness at a time. The process is not quick, but it's beautiful, because every step you take toward awareness is a step toward freedom, and freedom is your birthright. You are capable of calm. You are capable of clarity. You are capable of peace. It doesn't matter what's happened before. From this moment on, you can begin again. So take a deep breath. Feel the power within you, the stillness, the strength, the knowing. And say to yourself quietly but with conviction, I am not my mind, I am its master.